Dear audience, welcome to the show Power Chat. In today's episode, we are discussing about the COVID-19 and its impact to the lives and livelihood of migrant workers. Joining us today is Mr. Rameshwar Nepal, South Asia Director at Equidium Research, a human rights research organization. Please allow me to welcome him. Welcome to the show, Mr. Nepal.
Thank you very much.
How have you been?
I'm good so far.
Well, you worked in the areas of human rights for a long time. Previously, you were with the Amnesty International here in Nepal, and you are currently engaged in research work, creating insights in the areas of migration and human rights. How do you assess the situation of migrant workers, forgetting COVID-19 at the moment for a time?
Actually, the migrant worker, a large number of Nepali population, after finding very difficult to get employment in Nepal, and also after finding very difficult to have some opportunity to earn better earning, so they decided to choose the foreign labor migration as their option. So it has provided them kind of lifeline to earn some money and to run their livelihood, not only for them but also for their family as well.
What is their contribution? I mean, the foreign labor migrant workers' contribution to the country, their families, remittance and all.
The earning that they are doing in the foreign land has served them as the kind of lifeline that they run their life from the earning that they do in the foreign land. At the same time, it has the remittance coming from abroad, earned by the migrant worker who are going in the abroad. So it has contributed country's economy significantly. We have seen many examples, the positive example that the remittance has been contributing country's economic very well. Nearly 30% of GDP, equivalent to the GDP amount, it has been contributed from the remittance coming from the migrant worker.
Well, you are aware with the current situation. The world is suffering with coronavirus disease, COVID-19. Almost all countries across the world are suffering with this, including Nepal. Do you think that Nepal has well recognized the contribution of migrant workers addressing their concerns? Many migrant workers are stranded alongside Nepal-India border. Also, the migrant workers that they want to come back to this country from Gulf and other countries, they are having problem. Do you think that the country, the state mechanism supporting them, recognizing their contribution?
The initial scenario from the government or the initiative that taken so far, that has not showed kind of positive indication so far. For example, the Prime Minister of Nepal have some conversation with the Prime Minister of the country where a number of migrant workers are working. Similarly, the Foreign Minister also had some conversation. But that conversation not driven to the level where the migrant workers are facing a number of challenges. The top level conversation has been carried out, but that has not been driven to the specific problem, or toward addressing the specific problem that being faced by the migrant worker. From that, what I can say is the initial indication is not encouraging one.
What is the situation of migrant workers at the moment? Those who want to return to this country from Gulf countries, other countries, foreign labor migration and all. And what about the situation of migrant workers stranded alongside Nepal-India border?
Actually, because of this COVID-19, there have been two types of impact on the migrant worker working abroad. One related to the health and hygiene. The second one is related to employment and the earning. So regarding the health and hygiene, there is the migrant worker who are stranded or working abroad. They are provided very limited information about how they can be protected themselves, or if anything happened, for example, the infection is spread, then what are the support available for them. That sort of information have not been provided adequately. Secondly, the worker are not provided protective material, for example. My organization conducted research in GCC country. In the initial days of that research, the research showed that up to 60% migrant workers were not provided with protective material and the equipment, for example, sanitizer, mask, and etc. Similarly, in many places, the work have been continued, which has pushed migrant worker into vulnerable situation. I can give an example. In Dubai, we interviewed 3 Nepali migrant worker women who were working in the cleaning sector. They had to travel by the public bus to go to the work because the work was not stopped. So one of them got positive, the corona positive, and she had to come back and stay at the room because the hospital authority said that they don't have bed and facilities that the hospital can admit her or provide for the treatment. So this sort of situation because of the continuation of the work. The first thing that we have found is the accommodation camps. It is very much overcrowded in general, and the employer and the authority are not able to provide the isolation services or provide proper quarantine services. So that has pushed migrant worker for the risk of infection. Similarly, it was also found that some of the infected workers are facing accessing health treatment. So in an example in Dubai again, a group of 7 migrant workers, 3 of them tested positive. So they made several telephone calls, and while talking with us, they said there is no any place that we haven't telephoned or accessed, but nobody came to pick them up. So other fellow worker also got infected or having some symptoms. So that shows that how migrant worker in crowded situation are putting their health at risk. So that is another issue. Similarly, there are some cases where there may be some discrimination between the citizen from the same country and citizen coming from abroad. For example, the migrant worker. So as per the what the migrant worker have been telling is, if the national from the same country want to go to the hospital and have the medical test, then it is easier for them, but the same thing is not that easier for the migrant worker. That means some sort of discrimination.
So discrimination continues.
Yes.
I will come back to you on the research findings that you have carried out. Are you saying that the fundamental rights of the migrant workers alongside COVID-19 impact are not ensured by the stakeholders, the government?
The government, in one side, trying their best to implement or to provide protection to the either worker or their own citizen, but it is not adequate, and it has not reached up to the migrant worker level. I mean, the migrant worker who are in the camp location or in the work, they are not provided proper protection or the adequate protection.
What are your key suggestions to the government of Nepal for carrying out immediate actions so that the rights of migrant workers are ensured with this COVID impact?
The government of Nepal has come up with some of the opinion publicly, saying that there are embassies who will be providing support to the migrant worker, but our embassies in the general situation were also not well equipped or well capacitated to deliver the proper service to the migrant worker, and it is beyond their capacity now to deal with the current pandemic or the current crisis situation. So the immediate step could be forming at least 2-3 kind of machineries or mechanism, the emergency mechanisms. For example, to deal with the diplomatic level, the top level diplomatic level, and the another mechanism could be the rapid response kind of mechanism, where migrant workers who are either stranded or having difficulties can contact that machinery, or the family at home, they can contact to the machinery, and the machinery can kind of analyze the situation and decide about the possible support to be extended to the migrant worker through the top level kind of the diplomatic kind of machinery that I was suggesting previously.
Well, you referring to the contribution of remittance to the GDP of this country, that is high, above 30%. What would happen when the countries that Nepali migrant workers are now received would change their policies with the impact of COVID-19, and the migrant workers would prefer to return or come back to Nepal? What should Nepal government do alongside ensuring their both the health and well-being, and also the employment and economic well-being?
Perhaps there has to be some arrangement or preparation to bring back the worker who are stranded or who are facing difficult situation. At the same time, some of the government, including UAE, they have been requesting the country of origin to take back their worker or their citizen home. So that indication has already seen. So that shows that a number of Nepali migrant workers will be coming back or need to be brought back, and that number will not be limited up to the thousands. It will go up to the million, perhaps, even if not hundreds of thousands. So if that happen, or that will be happen definitely. So when the migrant worker will come back, then there has to be some preparation to put them into the quarantine, for example, or provide the health facilities. That the journey will begin from arranging those things, and also there will be another round of non-health pandemic, I would say. That is the pandemic of the unemployment, because Nepal is not in a ready position to provide employment or to consume that workforce within Nepal. So the government has to start planning urgently to provide the employment, or to generate the employment, or to think about the alternative plans.
Well, don't you think that the the recklessness by the state actors, especially that of the local governments and the provincial governments alongside Indian borders, the Mahakali River and all, many people are stranded around. They are saying that they want to come back to their homes, or the facilities should be provided them to the places where they are stranded. But none of the things are happening. What should be done so that the people stranded alongside the Nepal-India border are, rescued immediately?
There have to be some arrangement done. For example, the quarantine centers or the isolation center and the essential medical facilities. Then those workers who have arrived to the border, they have to be they have to be allowed to enter their home, and need to put them into the quarantine centers and do their health treatment or health checkup properly. That journey begins from there, and it is totally unacceptable that the worker are returned back or used force against them by the state. It is violation of right to return.
Any data or insights in your research that of the gender indicators on the status of migrant workers, impact of COVID-19 to their lives?
Definitely, all the workers are impacted by the COVID-19, but the domestic worker, where the majority of domestic workers are the women, they are impacted especially. Similarly, the undocumented worker, and the majority of undocumented workers are the women in some of the countries. So they are in a special situation, more vulnerable situation. If, for example, they access to the health services in the destination country, and they will be in fear, in a scared situation, or at risk of being arrested or taken action by the authorities. So those workers are, especially the women, they are at high risk.
sometimes, there are cases that women or girls are, harassed at home. Also, women workers might have been stranded in these places as well. What special, protection strategies should be, implemented, or government should do alongside to rescue them from these places, especially the women?
Actually, the government need to prepare a database or the contact list of those workers who are in most vulnerable situation. That includes women also. So there has to be that system in place, and then after, for example, if needed, then government need to be in a ready position to rescue them, to put them into the shelter, and to bring them at home. So there has to be some machineries or preparation, but I haven't seen any preparation being done by the government, apart from pointing to the embassy and suggesting to the worker that if you are in any condition or any difficulties, please contact the embassies. So my point here is the embassy are not in a capacity to deliver properly, to respond properly the crisis situation now.
Yes, there are reports, when approached to embassies, they would say, we are collecting data, we would inform you later. We are trying our best reaching out to the vulnerables of victims. Why so happen? You trying to say that it is due to political appointments, that ambassadors or embassy officials have not been properly appointed at these places, and they are not capable enough to address these challenges?
Most of the embassy are running under-resourced. Actually, whatever resource and capacity they had to have, that is not provided or not arranged. That is one. And the second thing is our embassies or the state machinery sometimes are not labor friendly. They are not very much worried about the situation that being faced by the poor people, but they are always worried about whatever their interest is.
They were not oriented about the migration or labor laws that Nepal is a state party, that Nepal has ratified with several ILO conventions and all, or they don't want to know this? What is the reality?
A number of examples have proved that they are not oriented properly, as you mentioned. From the statement or from the response they are giving, we can observe very easily that they are not provided proper training on the international standards or the human rights or the labor rights. Yes.
You mentioned that million people would come Nepal at least, provided that the countries would change their policies on foreign migrant workers, labor migrant workers. What would be the preparation of Nepal reintegrating the returnees in Nepal?
There have to be some proper plan to engage more people within the home. Actually, I mean, in country actually. Nearly 500,000 of workers come to the labor market every year, but a few thousand have been occupied in the labor market home. The other have to go to the abroad. So it has been a while, at least 2 decades, that this scenario has been continuing. So the government is not putting together the proper plan to occupy or to consume the labor force within the country. So the time has come to start preparation, and the government has to bring the concrete and very tangible kind of plan to occupy the labor force within the home.
Well, how do you observe the role of United Nations in Nepal? There are many organizations, some or other were touching upon the issues of migrant workers, labor force, refugees and all. There is IOM, ILO, UNHCR and all. Are there efforts, supporting to the government of Nepal, okay? Or there is room for improvement alongside their technical or monetary support?
Whatever role the international agencies, including UN and IOM, ILO, they are doing good. But at the same time, there is a question that whether whatever they have been doing is adequate, given the problem being faced by the Nepali migrant worker. either to protect the rights of the migrant worker or to, for example, to provide the opportunity of employment at home. I mean, the support of those international organizations had to be driven also to create the employment opportunity at home, so that those migrant workers had not to travel abroad by leaving the family and the country.
You have been engaged in research most of your career time. How do you assess the implementation status of different policies and laws that Nepal has formulated here in Nepal within the backdrop of constitution and with the UN International Convention on the Labor Force?
We have very good laws. For example, the Foreign Employment Act 2007, that is perceived as one of the best law in the world itself, amongst other. But if you see the implementation, then it is frustrating. For example, the law allows the authority to take action against one who is committing kind of deceptive practice or who are involved in abusing the poor migrant worker, for example. But if you go through the record of or the data of the authority, that doesn't show that the proper action has been taken against those who are deceiving the migrant worker or extorting migrant worker, for example. Similarly, if you see the scenario, if you see the provision in the constitution, right to employment, that has not been materialized. So from that also we can say whatever plan and policy are in place that have not been properly implemented, which has impacted the poor people.
Well, Mr. Nepal, there are many interesting issues you are sharing with us, but we are coming to the end of the show. Any final thoughts that you want to share to our audience very quickly that I have left to ask you?
Actually, there are migrant workers abroad who are facing very difficult days and very difficult situation. So some of them need to be rescued, or there has to be some arrangement that allows migrant workers to come back home. So the government has not to be intolerant towards those migrant workers either coming to the border or wanting to come home from the third country. So there has to be some arrangement to bring back those workers immediately who are in the difficult position or crisis situation. That is one. Secondly, to provide proper protection or the diplomatic intervention, there has to be a machinery or the mechanism established immediately. Thirdly, there has to be another machinery or the mechanism to respond the crisis situation where the migrant worker abroad can contact and use that facilities, and also the family of the migrant worker can contact and get the help from the government institutions.
Well, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Dear audience, time now to wrap up this show. Keep watching us. See you next week. Namaste.